Woo-wee, holy cow, everybody. It has been a crazy couple of weeks. This is the announcement video we've been wanting to put together for the past week or so. It's just been a wild ride. So here's the announcement. We've completely rebranded and rebuilt the TNT business. We are no longer Thornhill's Nutrition and Training, but rather we are now Gym Heroes Strength and Conditioning. So we've been wanting to get the word out for you guys for so long, and I know there's been a lot of our clients and I'm sure people in the community and friends and family and been like, what the heck's going on, you know? And now this is where we're going to just lay it all out. We're going to speak and just tell you everything that's on our hearts, on our minds, on our souls even.
Yes.
We're going to just get down really to the nitty gritty, peel back the onion, if you will. We're just going to talk about it all, how we got here, how our journey together got us here, where we started. So really, Brando, let's just talk about, how we started. It was when we first met, the whole birth of this new business and hopefully ministry we're going to try to put into this as well started really when we got together. So
Yeah, it really did. It started out with you just doing your training and stuff in the gym, and whenever I first met you, I would come down and I'd get to see you training and stuff like that, and it was really cool. I had never been around someone who was a health and fitness person that wasn't like a complete full of themselves idiot. And when I first had met him, I was like, I no, that would not happen. I did not think that he would even be interested in me. I didn't think that he would have personality or anything. I don't know. I guess I didn't know what to expect.
I didn't think I'd have a picture to put up later. I'll make sure to put it up, but I matched with one of her closest friends on Tinder.
Yes.
One of the pictures was this. So just
Mhm.
it's funny because she's into the beard, but obviously
Love
as you
beards.
see, no beard. It's my show pictures.
So all I saw was this jacked, tan Tom Cruise in a
Yeah, I look
bright
like Tom
yellow,
Cruise.
bright yellow, trunks for his physique show. And I guess I saw that, and I was thinking, I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
you know?
I'll just go ahead and use the word douchebag. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I feel like we're just being honest here, and
That's what that was what I thought,
yeah.
which was very wrong of me because I should not have judged a book by its cover. I even though my whole life I was told that, and we learn lessons constantly growing up, and we're told little pieces of wisdom from old people, and
Oh
all
yeah.
I ever got was don't judge a book by its cover, always keep an open mind, or different things like that. And but I definitely had a stipulation where I thought that anybody that would be like physically active and was like, I don't know, I guess anybody who took care of their body and like was active and did sports or did anything that would, yeah, literally, I was so blind when it came to those things. So then whenever I did meet you and I got to talk with you, just you and me, and that you weren't this let me impress you with my macho-ness. I have lots of muscles. Look at my body. There wasn't that. It wasn't that. It was you were human too.
Yep.
At the time, one of your favorite restaurants was Burger King,
Yeah.
and when you told me that, I laughed so hard, and because I thought, okay, so this is a real human. It's not just somebody who is like, make sure you're eating your veggies. You weren't that kind of a
No.
nutritionist and trainer, so
Yep.
I think that was that was probably one of the first lessons that you taught me was not
Oh
to
yeah.
judge a book by its cover. So yeah.
Oh yeah, something I want to add to that. I didn't think I'd be asking to have pictures put up from my past, but you expected, oh, personal trainer, this guy's gonna be hanging out with a bunch of chicks, maybe a little bit of a womanizer,
Yes.
hitting on girls, and lo and behold, here's a couple of pictures from my past. I'm working with old ladies at the Y,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people I'm training are just like at the time 10, 11, 12-year-old
Yes.
kids.
So it wasn't even like you weren't surrounded by the people I thought you were.
Yeah. Oh, for
Because
sure.
you were just at your local YMCA in a
Yep.
small town. It wasn't like you were.
Absolutely.
It's not like you were in one of these big city gyms. Well, you weren't the guy that was standing in front of the mirror taking pictures of himself. You
Yeah.
were the person that was patient with people in the gym. You helped people. You were going around the ladies who had problems getting in and out of equipment. You were
Yeah.
patient. You helped them. You eased them in, and you were gentle. You were respectful. You were kind. And seeing you work with people was amazing. That was part of what I would say probably helped me fall in love with you because I watched you be so patient with people, and then also seeing that you like worked with kids and stuff. You worked so well with them. You knew what to say, and you made
Just a
sure.
big kid myself.
Yes, and but that also I think helps because then you haven't lost that childlike faith,
There
if that
you
makes
go.
sense.
Yeah,
So I think there's a sense of that we need to keep around, that you did keep around. So watching you with the kids and helping them, you also made a point to like not be that coach and trainer that yells at everybody all the time.
yeah,
And if you did, like you always say, if I'm gonna raise my voice, it's because I'm excited, not because
yes,
I'm getting on to you.
absolutely, for sure. Yeah, I just had a couple coaches growing up through school and different sports I did that I just didn't care for. I didn't care for getting screamed at, yelled at, and demeaned, and felt like I was worthless. And I'd kind of made a promise about it at one point that exactly, if I was going to raise my voice, it was going to be cheering them on, getting excited, like, "Hey, you did this, and this was phenomenal." And I've had that same response, that same passionate response. I do to an extent understand where it comes from, but don't do it out of anger. Do it out of pure joy, pride, excitement, and passion for the person that you're working with, the person that you're trying to help. Because at the end of the day, that's
Yeah.
really what it is. Like, it's not to glorify me. I mean, yes, obviously we're trying to glorify God, but
Hmm.
it's not for me. It's about the kid. It's about the person. It's about their success.
Exactly.
Like, I get plenty of fulfillment just helping you out. Like, hey, I was smart enough and I had the knowledge and skill level to help pass this skill on and to get you to overcome an obstacle, whether it was through mentally, physically, spiritually, or like, you just didn't think you could do something, but then you
Hmm.
did.
Yeah. I loved
Exactly.
it.
Yeah. I mean,
I loved seeing your clients then, as they were making progress. Because like when I first came on and when I first like had started being around you a little bit more in the gym, it was just I'd come down and I'd spend a weekend, or I'd come and
yeah.
spend a week, just while we were dating, and so I got to see that. But then whenever I moved down there and I became a part of that gym community, also being able to get to know the people that you around all the time, and then getting to see how much of an impact you had in the gym, and seeing how the ladies, you all the classes that you did, 3 days a week, 3 hours of
Yep.
classes, and then one class Tuesday evening. So
Yeah.
um,
Did that for a while too.
there was a time that I just decided to go with you to all your stuff,
Yeah.
and I started. I tried whenever I was able to. I would go to the morning classes, and I'd do the silver sneakers and the active older adults class. So
Humble beginnings.
I was young and in there with all these old gyms, and loved it. Loved those kind of people. Those are my favorite. I have so many friends that I'm still friends with that I met from those classes. Um, and so even that was even a cool thing for me, because then I got to meet those ladies. I got to see build relationships with them and have fellowship in there too. But so being able to like be in there and see the impact that you had on those ladies too, where they were coming in and they were saying that uh, they had gone to the doctor, and uh, they the the progress they were making with you
Yeah.
was 10 times better than any physical therapy they
Yeah.
could have been going
Oh my
to.
gosh. Yeah.
And the doctors were saying, please don't stop. Please keep going. Nick's classes are amazing. Please keep going to them. They're doing so much good for you. And there was more than one person that had said those
Oh, I'm
things.
so glad you brought that up because it's something else I wouldn't mind sharing either. Like, because of where I started with the older ladies and stuff, like there was a very real possibility I developed differently, obviously, and we'll explain how and why later. But I did almost go down the route of physical therapy. I mean, the main
Yeah.
reason was because I didn't want to keep going to college. I got tired of that crap real fast. But yeah, I ended up doing a lot of physical therapy work, a lot of rehabilitation. That's what the early humble beginnings of my coaching was like. Yes, I was training child athletes, and excuse me, through middle school, high school, and some of them even graduated now and gone on to do cool stuff. Shout outs to you, Macy.
Mm-hmm.
And Hoyt will be next, but
Yes.
that's been something that I've enjoyed about that, as well as just watching them develop and watching them be able to become better people, and knowing that I got to be a part of the journey as well. And yeah, being able to rehabilitate a lot of the old ladies too. So that's kind of where I started, and then it's kind of it almost went to physical therapy, but I think it almost developed from the kids training to more strength and conditioning. So I think
Yeah.
that's how I went from there. But I'm glad you brought that up because I almost did the physical therapy route. I just didn't decide to. I'd always wanted to be a personal trainer, and I just happened to chat at the local YMCA. Just happened to offer me a job one day whenever I was fresh out of high school, and I wanted to give it a shot. I'll tell you that story too. Let's go ahead and talk about that story, and then we'll move forward so we don't go further back into what my stuff is. But just fresh out of high school, we had just started college. It was 18, 19. It was 19, just turned 19. It was really young, and I had done some job shadowing a few years prior in the Y, but talked about how I wanted to be a personal trainer, and so he ended up offering me this job for the old ladies, and I was excited. Went home, told my mom. She kind of laughed, not because it's bad. I know it sounds bad, but I think she was just shocked, like that of all places would be where I started.
Yeah.
you know. And I even remember telling some of my friends at the time, and they all laughed as well. And it's just how it is. And then, but that was how I started, and that was a stepping stone. That was the stepping stone that got me started, and here we go. We're moving forward from there. And then we met you, and
yeah, we met in 2018, and I wasn't until 2021 that I started working with you.
yeah. And I think and that was the cool part about working with you the past few years too, is like you said, you didn't have a background in this stuff,
Yeah.
so
I
you
had
got
no
to
idea what I was doing.
adapt. She got to we could start a whole series of life, what it's like dating a trainer, being engaged to a trainer, being married to a personal
Yes.
trainer. Like we could go into all that because, like you said, it's different perspectives. And then from my
Yeah.
perspective, it's just cool watching you grow, and then just to actually listen, because some people, and especially like I end up training everybody's wife, everybody's husband, everybody's significant other. I've even helped other personal trainers, significant others in the past, just because it seems like, gosh, if you're dating or married, you just can't seem to get along, can't seem to get this workout stuff going. But that's kind of what's been unique about us, and what's really set us apart is like, I've coached you to break 2 state records in powerlifting, and I think that's what I've just been so grateful and so proud of you for. Is like, I guess it's always been hard to listen, so thanks for listening.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I didn't want to at first. There were certain things that I guess at first I thought I knew at least a general idea. I mean, you definitely helped me. Like you wanted to make sure that you weren't crossing the line between being like my boyfriend, my fiance, or like my
Yes,
husband and a coach, a
yes,
trainer.
I had to.
You wanted to make sure that you didn't go
She's
too
my
far.
girlfriend, not a client.
Yes, he wanted to make sure that he wasn't treating me just like a client.
I
Although
feel like for most people that wouldn't be hard, but for me, especially back then,
finding that balance.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Because that's kind of always, I've just always been real deep with people and had that relationship. So like
Yeah.
if I've worked with you, past, present, or future, there is a semblance of family there, even in the online space, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And so, but I think what our problem was is that you should have just been treating me like a client.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, I think that if I had gone into it with that type of I know, shocking. If I
This
had
is
gone
news
in,
to me.
if I had gone in with that kind of a perspective of instead of being like, well, don't go too far.
So this is your coach, not
If
your
I had,
boyfriend.
yes, if I had gone into it being like, no, I'm going to learn absolutely everything that I possibly can from this guy because he knows what he's doing. And if I had gone in with that type of an attitude, I think I probably would be way further than I am right now.
Yeah, but that's okay because like you're there now.
I know. Yeah. So I mean,
I get it now.
here.
I'm wrapping my mind around it. It took me
Yeah.
a second. I was
I
just
still got
shocked.
here one way or another. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm still here, and I was still able to. I did finally when I finally hit that wall, and I started. I don't know if you remember. Every time I go into the gym, I'd sit down and go, "Okay, what am I working out today?"
Yeah.
And I would ask you every day of what I should work that day. And whether you realized it or not, I was just trying to get you to write me workouts.
I
So
think at
instead
first
of
it was a little aggravating, but I started to catch
yeah,
on because I was the same way. I was like, so like,
yeah,
don't be her trainer, be her
yeah,
boyfriend. But then I had to go ahead and put the trainer hat on as well.
exactly. So once I was able to make it kind of my job, when we decided that I was going to help you with the business,
Yes.
I think that was when I knew I needed to take it
So
seriously.
that's when it clicked.
That's when I knew,
Neat.
because then I thought, okay, this can be my job. I can be dedicated to getting this stuff in, because if I'm going to be helping you, then I also need to be like walking and living by example as
Oh,
well.
absolutely.
And I saw where you did that, and the stuff that we were uh, after then, we really started putting stuff online and going the online route more. So
Yeah,
fully
for
jumping into
sure.
it. Then we learned about all the habits and stuff, and so we knew that like if we're expecting other people to do this, then we need to be doing these things ourselves. Because I wouldn't want people to. I mean, we all struggle, obviously, but we should all. I want people to know. I want you guys to know that the same things that we have our clients do, and that we would have you guys do, that we put on the Facebook groups. These all these different stuff are they're all the things that we follow ourselves and that we
Yeah.
see works.
I try to live by it. I try to drink my gallon. I actually would like to do a gallon and a half one of these days. I work effortlessly every day, or effortful every day, trying to
Yes,
work
yes.
for it. Same with my sleep. Try to get at least 7 hours a night,
Hmm.
and that's something that I struggle with on occasion. Same with the 10-minute walks. If it's snowy and muddy and there's a bunch of soupy water
I don't
outside,
want to go out.
we don't want to go outside. We're trying to get a treadmill to get here so we can fix
Yes.
that. Things
Yes.
like that. We've switched. I want to switch around the habits, and we'll get into how things are different. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to switch around the habits, but eating protein first and making sure we're getting enough protein. Like I am a flesh and blood vessel, flesh and blood human, just like you, just like
Hmm.
you, just like you, and
Yeah.
everyone else. So I gotta follow the same rules.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do all this as well, and I have found that living by it, um, just makes me a much better coach, and it makes me more relatable. I think empathetic, or at least I can see we stand on the same ground, because
Yeah.
like I actually did some kickboxing for a while too. I'll go ahead and throw a picture up of that as well. We'll go ahead and
Yeah.
throw up a couple pictures. You can watch me get beat on and give the beating back and whatnot. It was a. I'm glad I did it. It was a rough time in my life, dark time, but oh man. That being said, it's I couldn't resonate with my clients. Like my kids are in there lifting weights and I'm in there getting punched in the face. Like we can't
Mm-hmm.
relate on that. I can't be like, "Oh, I know what you're going through," because oh crap, I don't know what you're going through at the moment. So when I
Mm-hmm.
got that out of my system, met you and started to fall back in love with strength training and powerlifting, that's whenever I was like, "Okay, I'm back home." And it really felt back home, both because I've been strength minded and strength hearted,
Yes.
my entire life. And we'll go into it. That's for another story, another video. But it just helped me relate to my clients more, because I was like, now, yes, I understand the same struggles when you got an ache and pain, or understanding the technique of this, or how we improve. And of
Yeah.
course, that was another thing too. It stalled my improvement as a coach, because as I'm learning how to fight, which is fantastic, I don't at all complain about that. But
Mm-hmm.
while I was doing that, I wasn't improving as a coach. I wasn't improving in the exercises. I wasn't improving because I wasn't in the same mindset,
Yeah.
with nutrition, training, mindset, lifestyle. I just didn't have that relativity, but now I do.
Mm-hmm.
So, and so that's why I've always enjoyed living by example. And I feel like that makes me the best coach, because at the end of the day, yes, I know that, in the real world, we have to do a business deal, agreements and payments and this and that and the other.
There's business aspects.
There's business aspects, but at the end of the day, I'm not trying to be your boss. I'm not trying to be I'm trying to be your leader. I'm trying to be your coach. Like, and I feel like if I just sit back, sit in my big chair on my throne, and bark orders at everybody, no one's going to want to talk to me. No one's going to want to listen. No one's going to get results and get their lives changed, and I'm not going to fulfill my purpose. However, if, yes, sorry, I got to eat, I got to provide for this wonderful vixen of a wife, my guardian angel, to provide for her, and just, to give us the best life possible, as well as to be able to provide the best services possible. We got to eat, we got to get paid. But
Yeah.
other than that, I just want to be your coach, your leader, and help you create the best, strongest version of yourself, physically, mentally, and emotionally, spiritually, all that. I just want to
Mm-hmm.
lead by example. So
Yeah.
that's actually been the journey I've been on the past 6 months or so, is just trying to master myself, trying
Yeah.
to master my schedule, work as efficiently as possible, become as disciplined as possible.
Yeah.
I'm setting my standard way up here and
Mm-hmm.
focusing on myself. So through the discipline, I can pass the torch on to you, lead by example, and just make things better.
Yeah. And I'd say it was only shortly after I had started working for you, just in that new year of 2021.
Yeah.
Just shortly after that, we got reached out to
Yeah.
by the this coaching agency. It's called the Coaches Cartel.
Yeah,
Not an
buddy.
actual cartel, but
It's not an
love the
actual
name
cartel.
still.
It was a hilarious business name. So when you panic and freak out,
Yes.
two things. One, it's a business name. Get over
It's
yourself.
not even called that
Calm
anymore.
down.
Even so.
Yeah, it doesn't even exist. Get over it. Okay? Yeah.
But yeah, so now it's the Fit Pro Association.
Yes,
And,
absolutely. And
uh,
actually, if I could, I hate to
Yeah.
interject, but I
No,
want
go
to
ahead.
tell this part of the story because it kind of goes into it. We got to rewind a little bit because I actually
Yes.
tried to do online coaching before
Yes.
before we met these amazing people. So actually, what happened is I think I got the idea in 2018 because I had a buddy I used to work with that couldn't make it to the gym. Our schedules didn't align. He was working and I was working, and it didn't work out because I was gonna have to be in the gym at like 10 or 11 at night, and I was already there 70 hours a week as it was. Like I just couldn't give him anymore. So then I thought I need to figure out to do something while I'm not there. I need something that they can follow while I'm not there, that they can take care of themselves. So that was the original idea. It sat and stewed in my brain for probably 4 or 5 months. Then all of 2019, I would work, and I was still working. It varied. Some weeks was 50 hours, some weeks was 70 hours. It really did roller coaster. So there were different times when I was just living at the gym, made jokes about pulling up a cot so I could just sleep in the back room and then just be there for work the next day. Which almost happened a couple times. Like I think my longest day was a 14 or 15-hour day. I was just so devoted to it, but so burnt out and so dead on the inside. So I was just like, and I started to look at different people on Instagram and see like, okay, there's a lot more. There's a lot. It's a little bit more hands off, but if I can figure out how to figure this out for people, I can end up not only helping more people, but then like I don't know, have a life back because that was the thing that changed with Branda. I've heard it. We've had it explained to us as Branda was a great expander for me. Without Branda, none of this would have happened in the sense that I was fine living at the gym. I was enjoying myself. I was living my calling, living the dream, my dream job. I was killing it. I was working all the time. I had 20, 25 clients at a time, had the classes on top of that. I mean, I was helping and serving probably 50 to 100 different people in some way, shape, form, or capacity during the week and stuff. And so I felt like I was killing it. I was on top of the world. I just was living at the gym. And then I met Branda here, and it just made me realize, we started dating, and not only did she have to constantly wait around for me to get off work, or oh hey I'm working, oh hey I'm with a client, so if I don't answer back for a while.
There were days that we didn't talk because I knew you would text me in the morning and be like, "Hey, so today's a really busy day. Probably
Yeah,
won't be
it's a
able to talk
12-hour
to you until
day. It's a
later."
14-hour day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then between that, you wanting time more of me and me, just realizing there was a life outside of the gym, and so I just wanted to try to come up with something more balanced, more sustainable. Because I don't know, I kind of liked her and wanted to get married at a certain point, and I think that's every man wants that at a certain point. And so that's kind of how the online idea went. Spent all of 2019 just throwing it together. I mean, I had no idea what I was doing, so I was trying to write up nutrition plans, workouts. I remember sitting there thinking to myself, I got to get to where I can write programs really fast. And I had programs written out that were taking me like 8 and 9 hours at a time to make, and just killing myself. Like I'd work the 50, 60, 70 hours in a week. And then I'd stay up until midnight, 1 in the morning, just burning the candle on both ends for a good 6, 7 months, just trying to get all this figured out. And I mean, I did catch up on sleep. It was just really erratic. There were times I wouldn't sleep hardly, 4 or 5 hours a night, 6 hours a night, and then I'd try to sleep about 12 hours later. So it was just god awful crazy stuff.
Yeah, not consistent.
Not consistent at all. And then we got to 2020. That's when we truly tried. You'd think that would have been the best time ever, which I think, looking back in hindsight, what we've learned, what we know now.
If we'd done it right.
If we'd done it right, oh. But guess what? I did it wrong. I ended up making one sale for 2020, all of 2020. The dude, or the person, dude, who cares, is a guy. He bought the program, bless his heart, made good progress. He just didn't finish. The pandemic happened.
Everything shut down.
Oh yeah, it was right as the pandemic happened we started. So this would have been perfect, like perfect proof. It just didn't fall through because I didn't know what I was doing. Nothing bad on this person at all. I'd take the person back in a heartbeat if we ever come cross paths
Yeah.
again, it'd be fantastic. But it was me. It was me. It was the coach. It was the coach's fault. Coaches didn't have the skill, the ability
Or
to keep
or the system,
the
you know,
system, any of it, the
the
skill,
software
the
to help.
ability, the skill, the ability, the humility, the software, the systems, the everything. Yeah, but just I didn't have it. So went through 2020, ended up having to go right back to the drawing board and was going back, and I started doing group training. So I'm training, sometimes 3, 4 people at a time, which I was making good money. There
Oh
was a
yeah.
couple times I was making $70, $80 an hour,
And that did help a lot
in
because
a
then
retirement community.
yes, and that did help a lot because that did free up your time a little
Yes,
bit
it
more.
freed up a little bit of time and it gave me more value for more bang for my buck. So, I did go from working, 50, 60 hours a week. We did get it down to 30 and 40 at times because you got to realize it fluctuated because people didn't always make it.
Yeah,
Life happens. So, but for me, like I do remember it did take a significant portion off because after 2020, it was no more 70, 80 hour weeks. It was, 40 and 50 and like I said, 35 sometimes, but still I was putting some time in and I didn't mind working on Saturdays. And if somebody was willing to do Sunday, as long as I could make it to church, I was still doing that. So like I had 7 day availability, so it wasn't a crazy workload.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Yeah,
still manageable at the time.
yeah. So we did that 2020. We ended up making. I kept myself afloat despite being shut down for despite not having classes for 3 months and being shut down for the 5 weeks we were where I didn't work at all. I was able to make it up in group training, getting new clients, things like that. But that was also when I realized with prices going up, and not even so much prices. Like for anybody that's not married, like you get married, you start spending more money on things. You just do. Like people that live together and have a romantic relationship and they want to go out and do things, yeah, it's going to end up costing a little bit more money.
Yeah.
So like that was something I noticed too, was like we started to struggle making money. I was having to pull out of my life savings, and then like, even with you working sometimes it was a struggle and staying afloat.
Yeah.
And then that's when it happened, was when we started in 2021. You finally just had enough at different jobs, and you were enough trying to find a job because there was just different struggles and different things that happened. But then we decided, lo and behold, 2021, we had prayed about it, we had thought about it, and then we were going to try to go into business together, which was terrifying because we were already having to dip into my life savings to pay the bills, and here we are going down to one income.
And I had come off of a job that paid really well.
Oh yeah,
and
we were doing
had
great.
benefits, and we were getting discounts for even for my.
I just realized how light
phones.
I'm being. I don't want to like overload it.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
but no, so we were coming off of that, and we went to only having one income.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was already kind of a scary. Let's take this risk.
Leap of faith. This is
faith.
where we felt like we were at because to do online, I realized I needed to do social media. And if anybody knows me, hilariously enough, as an online coach, I almost am never on social media. I'm on more now than I've ever been, but I probably spend no more than an hour on social media a day because I've even tried, because I've realized that any other time I'm just scrolling, and then I try to avoid that. So whenever I'm actually trying to do meaningful stuff on Facebook, I'm almost never personally on social media for an online coach.
Yeah.
So Brenda was gonna help me have an online presence. She was gonna help me make posts and like, you took the pictures, you wrote the captions. Like that's how she ended up helping me, because she was gonna try to help me do online for a while. We were gonna take this risk because we had the life savings. And the reason, this is important. I'm glad I remembered. I'm so glad I remembered. The reason I was even okay with taking this risk is because at the time I had a list of about 25 different people that were going to start in 2021. Right. I was going to be floating in money for a while. That I was going to do that, and Branda was going to work on getting the online presence. So basically, I was going to be working my job, busting my butt, and Branda was going to follow me around, take pictures, and just document my life.
And have be like your social media manager.
Yeah,
make sure that
that's literally all we were trying to do. Yep.
Yeah, so I had done that, and I had started taking, and I've always loved like writing and stuff like that. And so it was just something that was really natural for me.
Yeah.
I also love photography, so that was those were things that, and then with the job I had been at, I had learned a little bit more about marketing, and different styles and stuff
Oh, for sure.
of getting sales, and doing more of a sales type job. So I had learned a lot there that I was being able to bring with me, helping him and with TNT. And so I had started doing that, and it was on your Instagram that then one
Do you have your
day.
water?
Yes, I do.
Yep.
Uh,
You talk and
it
I'll
was
take my
on
swig.
it was on Instagram actually that
Stay
then
hydrated.
one of these days, or one of those days in the beginning, what in the first month and a half, 2 months, that this Chris Dufay guy had reached out to us and
Chris Dufay.
had messaged us on Instagram and had said that he was seeing our stuff, he really liked it, and then he just was asking a couple
I
questions
guess we
about
were
our
interesting
business.
people.
Yeah, so I had gone over to Nick and I was like, hey, do you know who this Chris Dufay guy is?
Yeah.
And because I was managing his social media at the time, and so in case he was someone that might be able to help us
Yes.
business wise, I wanted to I didn't want to throw away that conversation.
Absolutely. So yeah, this had happened this had happened around February, about 6 weeks into the new year. So, and this came at like the perfect time, and I can't wait to tell the story because you'll see. I'm hoping as we go through this, you'll see how God just put everything together for us.
Mhm.
Because right before you started working with me, you were at Verizon, so you were learning marketing, you were learning outreach,
stuff.
you were learning tech stuff
How
that
to-
I
and-
had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah, dealing with and how to word
I still
things,
struggle.
how to but like how to talk to people. I was on my job. I sat there in this Verizon store, and people came in with tech problems.
Yeah.
And that was my job, was dealing with tech issues and setting up phones and
Yep.
figuring out like troubleshooting things and posting things, doing social media content and stuff like that. So God had been training me through that job for the months that I was there. And then whenever we had been praying about whether we needed to start working together, we had thought about it, we wondered about it, and we had said, okay, well then let's just be praying about this, and if this is something that God wants us to do, then He'll make a way.
For sure.
And I don't even know how long. It wasn't very long after we had started praying.
Yeah.
That then we got our answer.
Yeah.
And that day I ended up talking with my manager, and she asked me some questions about my future with the company, and so I just was clear with her. I was like, "Well, I'm not going to lie to you. Me and my husband have been talking about this," and she was like, "Okay, cool." So
Which was a leap of faith.
yeah, and she goes, "Okay, well then, I'd like to know by the end of the day whether you want to put in your 2 weeks, quit, or if you want to commit to the company." And I was like, "Crap, that was not where I saw that going."
Yeah.
I mean, this was a thought we thought about, and I thought it was
Didn't
cool.
think we were gonna have to make the decision. It was all
Didn't think it was gonna be so
we
fast.
thought we were gonna let things stew. We were gonna be able to pray about it and just we'd get our answer in time. Not
I thought,
immediately.
yeah.
You have to like jump now.
Yeah, did not. I figured I at least had another couple months.
Absolutely, and the reason this was so terrifying at the time is you quit around Thanksgiving, so you didn't get to have the
I missed all of the
holiday stuff,
bonuses, all those things.
Because we wanted that to at least set us up.
Yeah,
and then we didn't get that. And then what made it worse is, like I said, I had this 2025 list of clients. None of them showed up. Yeah. None of them started in 2021. They had all given me some excuse or some reason they couldn't make it.
Yep.
I had even lost a few clients.
Some of them even
some of them even left. So imagine I'm thinking, okay, I've got to figure out how to accommodate for 20 different people in my schedule trying to see me multiple times a week. Yes, group them up, figure out whose personalities fit right, so who can get along to train together, so you can
wouldn't end in total disaster.
Synchronize the workouts. And then I was gonna have to just go hard for however many hours straight, just because taking care of 5 people all at once in the gym would be insane. With the space, time constraints, space constraints. Giving everybody their undivided attention, I was setting myself up for disaster. And really ready to just run myself to death. And thank the good Lord that didn't happen. But it was terrifying because that money didn't come in. I lost a couple more clients. So here we are, dipping into the life savings more to pay our bills. We're out, 300 or 400 a month, which you think not bad out of however many grand I had at the time. But then here we meet Chris Dufay, and we get reached out to, and we get on a call with these guys, and
talking with Josh.
Yeah, and I was gonna say it was I believe it was a Thursday at 9:45 in the morning. on February like 15th. No, it was not. It was not quite Valentine's Day. It was early February. It was Thursday. I remember it being a Thursday though, and I got on with Josh Vago. My life changed forever after that. So, oh, it meant the world to me, and I'm gonna just talk about it why, and we'll see what gushes out. So I got on, and just to give you a background, I do come from a small town of about 5,000 people, so not small, but not huge. And really, I mean, I had other personal trainer friends in the area, but a lot of them were having to go get other jobs, and a lot of them were having to, go do other things. They weren't able to devote 100% of their time to personal training. And I saw that they were miserable. So that's something that I had always tried to avoid like the plague, and like was terrified of having to go get another job. And that was not something I was like considering at the time, but thinking like, if I don't get this figured out in the next year or so, like I'm
Yeah.
not going to have a life savings, and I'm not going to have any money, and we're going to have to figure something else out.
It was
And
scary.
it was scary. It was a rough time, and it was making me nervous. And I mean, you had the yeah. I mean, we had already been through 2020. This is early 2021, so like mentally, we were just dead. I was terrified of everything that had happened in the world that year. Like you all remember the trauma that was 2020.
And yeah, and we also had got married that
Yeah,
year.
we had just gotten married that year, so we're
we were trying to
newlyweds.
plan a wedding throughout the pandemic.
Yeah,
and
and then we finally just eloped. We did that.
Yeah.
We'll try to let's put up some pictures now of the wedding and like
yeah,
just
with
different
the
things.
actual ceremony.
The ceremony,
Right
the
up there.
wedding, us eloping. I mean, whatever you want to put up in later when we do this in editing. But yeah, it's just
Yeah, it was already crazy.
yeah.
We'd already come off from a lot. So
Yeah, so we'd already gotten married, and getting married, like anybody who plans a wedding and gets married in 2020 and then decides to elope, it's because we got to our wits' end, we got to our breaking point.
We didn't even
Several
care about a
different
wedding
times,
anymore. Yeah.
several different times, we were over it.
Yes.
Just go get married.
Just ready to be married.
Yeah, our bathroom went out for an entire freaking month in July.
Yeah, so I had no bathroom,
no shower. We had to go to
hole in the house.
in the middle of July, and it was super hot. So we're
hot.
going to friends' houses, taking showers while we're trying to plan a wedding. We're like, let's just go to the courthouse.
Yeah, it was.
Then we even went to the courthouse, and we had made an appointment with the judge at the end of the day, and was on our way up there. Even called in and said, yeah, we're going to be 5 minutes late, but we're there. Oh, he's still here. Everything's fine.
Yep.
We get up there. He left.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So then we ended up getting this. So then that was a Wednesday. So then we called our preacher at the time when we got back, and that Saturday we ended up tying the knot and getting married.
Mm-hmm.
So
it was just crazy and
yeah.
hectic, and we had come off all of that whenever we so newlyweds.
Yeah, newlyweds had been through all of this and
together to start to do this business. And to take things online, and then talking with Josh about
everything we'd been through.
About everything we had been through. Then, but he had told us about like what this coaches cartel, what they did, how they helped other coaches. And,
yes.
And their main thing was helping people, just like Nick, who had been working and basically was a slave in the gym. But knowing that there was more out there, that they could be doing more, they could be helping more people, in a better way that isn't just basically being a babysitter.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get you where you're coming from there, because like it just what made things rough, and then not only that, but like this was like really good exposure for me, because like I said, I had other personal trainer friends, but we'd all just been struggling, and this was the first time like I've heard through, I'd heard all my life and for years that a personal trainer could be absolutely successful, and not only so much as like the money and income, as not only the money but also the impact and freedom as well, because that all does roll in together, because as you read through self-help books and you're learning about personal training, they do paint a beautiful picture of, you get to travel, of like, oh, this I remember reading a book about becoming a six-figure trainer, and they were saying that, oh, this came from the advice of this one trainer, like, the trainer, he's not always in the gym, but when you see him, he's got a year-round tan because he's always traveling, and he's always dressed nice, and you can tell he's just well put together, and it's just like, and that you can make, the six figures, like I said. I just never really had seen it, especially in my area, but never really seen it. And it's not
really
that,
know why.
Yeah,
didn't know how.
Didn't know why, and didn't know how to be successful without, without working yourself to death, having a life outside of it. And this was the first time that I had just, seen a vision or a chance or an open door to,
So that was even
yeah,
possible.
to be able to help more people, to really take this to the next level, to actually do online like I wanted to do, like I had tried to do the entire year before, and just really just being able to see what I could be. Because that's the other funny thing is, I used to always think to myself, like, okay, I'm here in small town Missouri, and in a small town in Missouri, and I don't know anybody. I'm in the middle of nowhere, the Midwest,
Hmm.
and beautiful country, God's country. And I used to always wonder, like, how do I stack up with everybody in the rest of the world? How do other trainers in other areas do it as well? Like, because I only knew a couple and then me. And like, how do the others do it? Like, and I guess as maybe as a man, you can understand for those men out there, like, how do I stack up with everybody in the rest of the world? Like, would I act, like, who's the best trainer in the world objectively? Who could say they could do it? And so that was another thing that intrigued me, because it really seemed like, wow, after that call with Josh, I actually did start to look into him. I had followed Chris for a couple years on Instagram and just didn't realize that this him and Josh could help me.
Yeah.
Felt dumb for that, but we finally got into it, and I started looking into it, and I realized that this was everything I could have ever wanted in the business, and it was great, and it was going to be awesome. I was going to be able to do online, and I think the cool part too, I want to also mention that the original intentions in online, like, this is so much further than what I could ever possibly comprehend, because when I first started this, I used to always think, like, I never thought past just living in the gym. I never thought past from when we first met. So then we were doing online coaching. I just wanted it as an extra side hustle, help me in. And Josh was saying, like, no, you can make this your entire thing. And you may come to a point where you may realize that you want and need to make this an entire thing, just
Mhm.
because it's that valuable and you can go that far into it.
Yeah.
So that's what really intrigued us. That's what really got me into it. It's like, this was the
Yeah.
gateway to everything we could ever want: saving the business, making it work better, being able to save ourselves from the money problem we already had,
Yeah.
because we were already kind of was losing money as we went into this, and then we realized how much it was going to cost.
Yeah. Then they told us how much the coaching was. And,
Yeah,
I mean, and it was a significant amount.
it was well worth it.
Yes, it was very well
Worth
worth it.
every penny. It was just going to really, for somebody who was already in a money problem, was not willing to not ready to do that. So that was an
And
absolute leap of faith.
yeah, you had the money.
We had the
We
money.
had the money
We
at
had the
least for the
money,
first few
at
months.
least for the first few months.
And
But
so
it was going to cost more than what it cost to live.
Yeah, it was doubling our living expenses.
But that's okay. Like I said, it's worth every
But
penny.
yeah, so knowing.
But that was a terrifying thing. That was painful.
Oh,
That was
yes.
terrifying.
Well,
that
and
was one of the scariest things I'd ever done.
it was something that, like, we had to. I think it still gave us urgency, but I
Yeah.
mean, it was something that we had to work through, and knowing that if this was something that we wanted, then we had to make
We
a
had to
commitment.
give everything.
And we had to invest in
We had to
ourselves.
take that leap of
And
faith.
yeah, and you have to spend money to make money. Like,
Yep.
I had always heard that, and
Yep.
and so I had told him, I said, after we got off that call, we actually sat down. I said, let's make a pros and cons list.
Oh, it was terrifying.
With why we should and why we shouldn't
As you
do
can
this.
see, I'm already having the flashbacks.
It was terrifying.
Yeah.
when we sat down and we had that conversation. And when we wrote out everything, there were so many pros.
There were so many pros.
And there were a few cons, but it
Yep.
really came down to money.
Yep.
And this was going to be hard.
It was going to be hard. It
There
was
was gonna be
money,
work
and
that
then
we had to put in.
if we could actually pull it off, because that was another thing, is like, you don't understand too, is like being able to break your own belief system, because like you know what you think you can do, and you think you know what you can do, but Josh was actually saying, oh, you could do thousands of times better, you could do tens of thousands of times better. Like, it is so exponential, and so I used the word incomprehensible because I can't think of another word that describes how I felt at the time.
Yeah.
Like, I was gonna, I was a guy who had spent the last couple years working and busting his butt to grow his business, and for what I was used to in the past, I was used to having to bust my butt, work my butt off for an entire year, sweat bullets, grind it out, go without sleep, go without fun, make sacrifices to add 10, 15, 20% to my income in a year,
Yeah.
to add, an extra 3 or 4 thousand a year to my income, just to add, to keep the clients I've got, as well as to add, maybe 10 clients in a year. I mean, honestly, like,
Yeah.
they're that was what I was used to. And Josh had basically, said, oh, we could do 10 times that easy, and go beyond that. And
Yeah.
so, just have that said to you, and then look at the numbers and just say, like, you're
Yeah.
crazy, and realize that we had to pray about it, and you had to take that leap of faith.
Yeah. And they had testimonies of other people
They
who
had
had done it.
testimonies of other people who did it. Like, like, everybody's going to see this video, so maybe you've went through it with us, maybe you've
Yeah.
worked with us, you've been sent testimonials. What we understand, we had the same thing happen to us,
Yeah.
so we know how you felt.
We went through the same
Yeah,
process.
I know exactly how you feel. Yeah, it was more business than it was health and fitness, but I know how you feel. Like, holy crap, it was a freaking terrifying thing.
Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah. And
But
it was
probably the best decision I
oh, it
think
was the
that
best
we
decision we
could
ever
have
made.
made, because going that route, within, what was it, within about 90 days or so, uh 90 days or so, that you ended up being able to, because you'd realized that those classes was what, like 10-15% of your income at the time.
Yeah, so another moment I had that made me realize that I wanted to move forward from the classes and pursue online coaching and really 100% be a businessman, not work at the Y and then run my business out of the Y. Try to really jump into this wholeheartedly was when we had shut down. I mean, is the Cove. We'll call it the Cove, and that we were worried about the elderly. Absolutely, for sure, I understand. But in Missouri, we ended up shutting down for 5 weeks. But because they were worried about the elderly, they shut down the classes an entire month before we shut down, and then they kept them closed an entire month after we opened back up. So I had 5 weeks completely off, but then I had a month beforehand only doing personal training, only my 100% my own thing. I was 100% in control of everything. And I did that for the 2 months, and it made me realize, like, okay, about 30, 40, at the time I was working about the 70 hours a week, or it was about, at the time, it was about 40 or 50, because the numbers I'd come up with was I had sacrificed maybe 25%, or the classes took up 25% of my time, but then they only made up about 5 or 10% of my income. And then it made me realize, like, we call it the time for money trap. Or just, like, I wasn't giving as much value in those classes as I could being a personal trainer. And I realized that even in the classes, because I couldn't help them with nutrition. I couldn't give them training other than stretching or sitting in a chair, chair exercises. Like, I couldn't get them in the gym working dumbbells. So, like, there was so many things that just made me realize in my moment to make me pursue this and make me move forward with this. There was just so much I had to go through, because there was making sacrifices, making decisions. Like, it wasn't just money. Like, there was so much into this. Like, and if anybody's at any capacity been involved in this or heard me talk about it before, you'll absolutely know what I'm about to say and where I'm coming from. But not only did I have to worry about the money aspect, but people didn't like seeing me leave and quit things and wanting to move on to other things. There was a lot of people who disagreed with it. There was a lot of people who didn't like it. I had to leave a lot of people that I very much cared about, and I had to just make changes. And there was a lot of sacrifices and a lot of there was just a lot of bad stuff we had to go through. Financial troubles, just learning the skills, because yes, we jumped in and we doubled our expenses, and then which meant we had to double or almost triple our income just to get it going, and we only had a few months to do it.
And we were, I mean, by the grace of God, we were able to pay our bills every month.
Oh,
there was never a month that we
about every week I had to plan about 4 weeks ahead to try to make sure we had bills on time.
Yeah.
And I had to make deals with people and say, hey, like, it's coming.
We had times where we weren't sure if we were going to be able to.
Well, and not only that, but I also want to talk about, like, yes, we're talking about money, and that was a big deal, but, like, and then we had to deal with interactions with people and rejection from that. But then there was also developing the skills, because online is a totally different beast. It's a totally different thing than what face to face was. It's better in every way, I'll tell you, but you have to master the skills first. You have to get
Yeah.
that in. And I've always told this joke that I feel like I know how Captain America feels, because before online coaching, before Coaches Cartel, FPA, meeting Josh and all this, I used to do everything on pencil and paper. I used to get paid through cash or check. We
Yep.
text. We did use a phone to text, but there was no apps to training. There was no software involved. It was all pencil and paper. You could.
Yep.
We had done that. Personal training has done that since the dawn of time, and not to do the. And then in the past, it's now been almost 2 years.
Yeah.
It's been 22 months now to date. In the past 22 months, I have gone from doing everything like a caveman would, pencil and paper, and everything in person, and only texting people to schedule things, and only being able to work with a certain amount of people in the area, to now we run everything with software. We're able to use the software to get more details, more information faster, to create better results faster than we ever could. I am seeing people get results in 6 months that originally took me 6 years. And there's a whole other, there's other videos for it, so we won't go into a lot of detail, but that's just all of that for me was being able to do it and serve so many people better, to create the income, impact, and freedom to not only be able to have a better life for us, to be able to live a decent married life comfortably, but then to also to change lives for the better and serve more people, because now we work with people all over the world. Now we're worldwide. We've got somebody we worked with people in Bali, Indonesia, and Scotland now, and somebody went in England for a time. So as time goes on, we're going to have more areas that are across the waters that we're going to be able to, that we can say we've helped.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the biggest lessons I want to impress upon people with this, and oh boy, I'm just thinking about Josh. Gonna love hearing me say this, but probably my biggest lesson with this is that you got to understand the cost of inaction. If you don't do something, it could cost you everything you've ever wanted, all your dreams, all of everything you could ever want, solving all of your problems, the life that you dream of having and that you want to have, could be robbed from you just due to the cost of inaction. And so what I mean by this is that call with Josh, it ended up being a 90-minute call by the end of it, when we were, pulling the trigger on this.
Yes.
Pulling the trigger on this. None of this would have happened. None of the amazing stuff we're doing, none of being able to do this the way we wanted, to have the life we wanted, to be able to move forward with things like we're wanting now, and to have the skills, because we've learned so much. We've learned so much in the past 6 months, because we've even worked with the FPA for the past 6 months. So we've even stepped up and coached other coaches along with health and fitness. So we've got to see the inside of business and everything. So as we're moving forward with this, we'll be able to do this so much more. Like the skills we've easily made in the past 22 months, I'd say 22 plus years of progress. Years. Things I never thought possible.
Yeah.
None of that would have happened had I had not taken that leap of faith. Had we had told Josh no.
Yeah.
Had we had said, we can't do it, we're not going to give it a shot.
We could have said no.
That we're not going to take that leap of faith. And I mean, we were on our knees praying about it, and that was the answer, was to jump. And that's the way the Lord works, unfortunately, is sometimes he tells you to jump and doesn't tell you where. He just says, do it.
Yeah.
So that was the scariest thing, probably the scariest thing we'd ever done.
Yeah, and it was the best thing though, because then shortly after, as we were transitioning online, your face-to-face really started to dwindle.
Oh, it started to dwindle too. Like, everybody's mad at me for going online. Like, you don't understand how much of a choice I didn't have.
Exactly. There was
everybody was quitting on me. Like,
people didn't want to come to the gym anymore.
I can't express how, like, it's bad enough trying to build a business from the ground up, but when your bread and butter's already burning to the ground while you're trying to build something else, like, yeah. And we've had to do that multiple times.
And it was going to get to the point where you were going to have maybe one or two clients, and that was
it. Because, like, not to get super emotional, but let's talk about, like, what would have happened if we hadn't done this.
Yeah.
So let's go back 22 months. What would have happened had we not done this? Well, you'd have had to go try to find another job.
Yep, I would have tried to find another job that
you would have hated.
That I and the main thing was for me is that I wasn't willing to compromise my faith in certain areas,
And just your
and
beliefs
so
and your
in
morals.
my beliefs and in most of the jobs that I had, there was a time that they made me have to make that choice on whether I was going to um, compromise my morals and stay with this job that already made me feel like crap. And anybody who knows the normal 9 to 5 types jobs of where
Yeah.
I had a short time that I was working at a bank and I was a teller, and I can't tell you how many days I went in and I spent my 7 to 8 hours there, and I was in my little cubicle and I was talking with people as they were coming in, and I just thought, I'm sitting here, I'm spending most of my day here in this random building that I don't really care for. Uh, yes, being able to have conversations with people, being able to talk with people. I'm an extrovert, so I love having conversations and meeting new people. So that wasn't I loved that aspect of it. But I sat there in this building, spent most of my time there, making money to pay for bills at the house that I was not spending any time at because
Yeah.
I was too busy working at this other building. And
And then we never got to see each other.
we never got to see each other. We were on completely different sleep schedules and work schedules because
Yeah, for a while we did
you
do
were a
that.
night owl and I had to get up early. So
And none of my yeah, and then there were some days I didn't start until like 9 or 10,
yeah, so
and then I'd
you'd
go
sleep
until
in,
9 or 10.
you'd sleep in, and then you'd stay up late. And so I was getting up early and going to bed early.
Yeah,
And
there was a
uh,
time, yeah, we did, almost never saw each
we
other.
didn't. And unless it was every once in a
That's when we
while,
first got married.
yeah.
Newlyweds, never seen each other.
And we were eating out all the time.
That
That was
too.
another thing. That was not good for our health. We were swinging through and getting Sonic on the way home, or ordering pizza. I was working right next to a Domino's, so that was the easiest thing ever to just grab something on the way home. Um, Definitely not nutritious for us. I mean, tasty at times, but we also paid
Yeah,
for it in other ways.
yeah,
And so uh, I just remember feeling so trapped, and feeling like my soul was not growing. My heart, my skills weren't growing. I just, like I said,
yeah.
I felt trapped.
Mhm.
And when I asked myself, okay, like, is this where do I have the most impact here?
Yeah,
I didn't.
yeah,
If anything, it was the opposite. I
yeah,
was hurting people.
yeah,
I couldn't do my job to the fullest because I didn't even feel like that was something. It was a good paying job, I
yeah.
thought, and that so I
Absolutely,
was trying to make an adult decision and
absolutely.
not focusing on like where God wanted me. Although 100% I believe God wanted me there during that season of my life, just because I there were lessons that I learned, there were things
Yeah,
that I learned. I feel like it gives me a lot more patience and understanding when it comes to bank stuff now because I understand how things work.
yeah,
And we deal with banking stuff all the time now within our business, so that was a huge that training,
yeah.
and God put me.
Overseas stuff sucks.
Yes, yes. So, but then he also put me in a work environment of like people who also love Jesus, and that was a big deal. I had never been involved with that, so I had that for a season. But at the end of the day, like, uh, it came to the point where I felt like I felt like I was suffering,
Yeah,
and so I have gotten in that point in so many jobs. I've tried so many different career
yeah,
type paths. I've tried everything. I'm the kind of person that I was like everything that all my options when I graduated high school, I had like 7 of them and none of them related to each other.
yeah,
I was like totally open minded to wherever God wanted me to go. I didn't know what that was gonna look like. I just knew God probably had a reason for wherever He was putting me.
oh, for sure.
So I kind of looked at it that way. So whenever I felt like God was maybe pulling me away from a job, I didn't want to stay there and then waste time.
Oh, for sure.
And
And
so
if we hadn't done this, you would have repeated that
I
cycle
would have repeated
forever.
that.
You would have been in a place, realized you weren't meant to be there,
Hmm.
got disgusted with it, and left. You would have done that.
Yes,
I would have, I mean, I think I could have saved the business, but it would have been rough. And I can't think of doing anything besides doing this because I wouldn't have been able to live with myself at the time. I was 24, 25 at the time we were trying to do. No, I was 25 at the time when we finally had started doing this. 25 at the time. I'd been running my own business, doing self-employed stuff for since I was 19 or 20, and anybody knowing that they're running a business, the thought of having to go do something else when it's your passion, you've been blessed and spoiled to do your passion for
Yeah.
so long. Like, I didn't know if I could live with myself. Like, it was starting to really weigh on me mentally. It was really
Yeah.
starting to put me in a dark place. The thought of what am I gonna do with my I didn't know if I could live
If it
with
doesn't
myself.
work,
Like,
yeah.
what am I gonna do, because I don't have any other skills besides here. They're not gonna transfer to anything. So I'm gonna have to start from the bottom instead of working my way up again. It's just not gonna matter.
It was just
And
it would have been a nasty other option.
oh, that would kept me up at night, dude. I don't think I could have lived with myself. I think
I don't think I could have either.
yeah.
So knowing that that was our other option.
Yeah, I mean, it was really a it was really a, do or die moment. It couldn't
Yeah.
have been any more do or die, because like it was literally, on one hand, I've got everything I ever want. I just have to go through learning new skills, all the uncertainty, spending all the
Mm.
money, this investing in myself, doing
Pushing
something
past
that
all those uncomfy stuff.
on pushing past uncomfy stuff, being outside of my comfort zone, and not only being outside of it, I've not been comfortable in the past 2 years.
Yeah. Yes.
So like, saying goodbye to the comfort zone forever, I guess. But
Mm.
it was either that or stay comfortable, stay in the driver's seat,
Be
say what I'm
miserable.
gonna do, maybe watch it die, maybe have to go stack shelves at Walmart, or go try to do something else, because I didn't know what else to do. Like I said, this is all I've ever done since I was out of high school. Like, I did have a yard working job for somebody whenever I was in high school, and then I worked for my parents for a while at the screen printing shop at the screen printing shop, which I really didn't want to do. It just didn't work out that way for us, and I had other things I want to do. So just to do your dream and do your favorite thing, and to watch it just slip through your fingers and watch it burn, like,
Yeah.
I just keep saying, without trying to traumatize anybody, and don't give me a call about this later, because I'm doing fine now. But like, yeah, I don't know if I could have lived with myself.
Yeah. Well, and something that I think that is incredible that I try to keep in mind as well while we're doing things. Um, this whole coaching thing, I was able to, through doing the online stuff, then I was able to help more with coaching and learn
Mm-hmm.
about how to be
Absolutely.
a coach and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and if you guys may know this about me, if not, then I'll tell you. But I had wanted to, out of all the career paths that I could have chosen after high school,
Oh, I know what you're saying.
I decided I wanted to go into counseling, and because that was something that since I want to say sixth grade is when I first had like really felt that calling, that type of oh yeah, I could be a counselor.
Yeah.
I had people all the time coming to me and asking for advice about things, whether that was within different relationships like friendships or dating relationships, or relationships with their parents, or maybe they were going through a really hard time and so they just needed help and like guidance to of how to move forward, or maybe people were in really rough
Yeah.
situations, and they didn't know who they could talk to, and people felt like they could come talk to me.
Absolutely.
And and so in sixth grade was probably, I was still really young, but I had people all throughout elementary and middle school, these kids that would come up to me and they just wanted
Yeah.
to open up, and people would open up and talk to me about things I didn't even have to ask. They would just come and talk to me,
Oh yeah.
and I knew
I
that.
do it so much.
Yes, and so now I looking back, I know that that was there was an obvious gift that I had been given, and a um a calling for where God wanted me to be at. So I thought that I was going to end up being a counselor. I thought that God wanted me to, be in an office and have have people come in and for their scheduled counseling session. I thought that that was how my life was going to look like.
Yeah.
And so I decided I was going to go into college for Christian counseling, and I went to Central Christian College. Um, very quickly realized that just how little money I had. Um, and within just a few weeks of being at college, they pulled me in and said, "Hey, you don't have enough money to cover the semester. So basically, what are you going to do about it?"
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, well, this was not where I thought God was taking me. Like, I thought I had prayed so much, and I wasn't sure where God wanted me. And then He brought me to this school, and I was like, "This is great. I'm going to be here for 2 to 4 years. I'm going to get my degree, and we're going to see what type of like networking I can do while I'm
Yeah.
here." Like we had talked about like our 5 year plan,
Yeah.
because that was when we first started dating. Everything I told you was
At
absolutely
what?
100%
You
true.
were what, 19 and I was 23 and we talked about our 5 year
Yes,
plan?
we were very young, but still were surprisingly mature for our age. And so, I what I thought my life was going to look like uh, was completely different than what it ended up being. But so then, long story short, with college, I only did one semester. After that semester, I stopped, and I ended up having to move back home.
Yeah.
That was something really hard for me, because then I had to go through that whole Brandy, you're not a failure, because you had to
Yeah.
like basically drop out of college.
Mhm.
That my identity was not in a degree, and then no, it being okay with my life not going the way I thought
Yeah.
that God wanted it to
Absolutely.
go. So that was really difficult. That was a hard time for me. But then um, I just told myself, hey, it's okay. Even though I have no idea what's happening right now, God, I know you have a plan. And so I had moved back to my hometown. We were long distance for quite a while. And it wasn't until that next summer we had been dating for probably almost a year at that point, or had been together, no, talking with each other for about a year. Um, Whenever I then moved down to be with you, be
Yep.
closer to you and stuff. And so, um, and then silly me, then later with this coaching stuff, I realized, oh my goodness, it was not counseling. Counseling maybe was a stepping stone. It
Yeah.
was a thought that got me to
Yeah.
this. But being a counselor or being a therapist was
Yes.
not what God wanted me to do. He wanted me to be um, doing still being able to do that, like the type of counseling, and still being able to
Oh,
help
because
people.
this is super
It
psychological.
is, and but being able to help people in such a more way. Like even with him, he thought he was going to be in the gym the whole time, and I thought I would be in an office.
Oh yeah.
And so, being a therapist, and then maybe even being a different type of therapist,
Oh, for
but still
sure.
doing training and stuff that way. But I had focused more on the mental and spiritual side of it, whereas he had been spending his whole life learning about the physical. So
Physical and psychological. I just
yeah,
like to laugh about that because of everybody who knew me growing up. Probably the last thing you'd expected me to be any well versed in is psychology.
yes, yeah. So
And it's not like I have a psychology degree. It's just, but I use psychology every day to help
oh
my
yeah.
clients
Well,
clients get through things. So.
and we both had our time where we did study it.
Oh, for
I
sure.
loved psychology.
I could have majored in it in college. That was
Yeah,
most of the classes I ended up taking was
yeah,
psychology. I took some psychology, sociology of normal psychology, the way the mind works. I don't know, it fascinated me.
yeah. Me too. I loved it. I
I
couldn't get
wanted to
enough of
figure out
it.
how my own brain worked.
Yeah, same. And I wanted to figure out uh, I was always fascinated with why people acted the way that they
Oh,
did,
exactly. And I
and
mean that's got to figure out like
patterns, and
why are you struggling to eat? Why are
yes,
you sedentary?
yeah.
Exactly.
So whenever we started to do this online stuff, it became so much more apparent how psychological it
Yeah.
was, and and how there was counseling that went with it. There was life coaching. It was
Yeah.
coaching, not just training.
Yeah.
It was everything,
For sure.
and so God bringing us together with the mental, spiritual, physical, mental side of everything.
Absolutely.
Together we were like the dream team,
Yeah.
and
Together we were the dream team.
being able to do that, I thought that was super cool that God had even like pieces together that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we're moving things forward now with the new brain and trying to move forward is because like yes, the reason we were TNT Thornhills Nutrition and Training before is because it's just a funny play on words. I came up with it before I even met you.
Yeah,
Like a couple months before we even met, I had come up with TNT and launched the Facebook page and tried to do something with it. So we just used the business name. We didn't
yeah,
brand. We didn't know what we were doing. We wanted to rebrand because we felt led to do it because like, and there's so much to this too because like we feel like strength and conditioning. I personally believe strength and conditioning. That is my philosophy and my bread and butter with coaching and training because I have realized that anything you want to achieve physically, whether that's leaning out, losing weight, building muscle, building strength, mobility, different things like that.
feeling healthy, feeling good
Feeling
in your
healthy,
body.
feeling good in your body, having energy, having a clear mind.
Mhm.
It all can stem from strength training. resistance training, lifting the dumbbells, the barbells, the kettlebells, bands in there. I mean, that resistance training, building the muscles, learning to activate the muscles. That's going to help you achieve anything you want. So I'm still okay with honestly working with whoever, but you got to be a special kind of person. You got to be strong-minded. You got to be willing to work, and you got to be ready to get strong, because we can achieve anything you want, but we're going to make you strong first.
Oh yeah.
And that's not just for physical. We've decided, like we talked about with psychology, we're trying to bring everything into it. We're trying to bring the excuse me, the physicality into it, the mentality into it, the spirituality into it. We're trying to roll those together, all those together. That's why we're trying to be open and unapologetically ourselves. Like, we're sharing our faith in spirituality. That doesn't mean we have to have the same faith, but we have to have a faith in a spirituality. And we're trying to bring it all together, because if we do focus on each part and work on it together, the nutrition, the training, the mindset, the lifestyle, the mental, the physical, the spiritual, all rolled up into one, all together, you will become a much better, stronger person than the person God called you to be.
Absolutely. Well, and even knowing that we're supposed to be moving forward.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't be stale.
Yeah, we shouldn't be stale. We should always be moving
improving
forward.
and wanting to get stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can even kind of had somebody told us about some prophetic dreams that, like, this was going to be the new birth of a new business in 2023. And so we were trying to go into it from there. So this is like the rebirthing of the new business, because now we know who we are. We know what our visions and our passions and what we're about. Like, we're so well versed in who we are and what we need to do moving forward. We had to give it a whole new name. We're going to try to do some ministry work out of it as well too. So, like, it was a completely new direction. We wanted to get it out there to everybody and just know that things are better now, because we're going to be able to take care of you, and so much better, because our knowledge is better, our spirituality is better, we're much deeper in our faith now. But also from the technical side, I was coached by some of the best coaches in the world on how to be a good online coach and how to take care of my clients and grow the business, just to name off some names, because I love and appreciate all of you guys. And I want to go ahead and apologize if I forget somebody, and just please don't hate me for this, but Josh Vago, Chris Dufay, Elijah Allison, Cal Robinson. I can't think of, like, those four main guys. Like, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for putting up with all my crap, being hard on me when you needed to, help coach me through the mental, emotional side of things. But, like, and like I said, we even spent some time working within the business with these guys on the same level as them as well. Brenda got to learn how to do tech and marketing and set up ads and do everything we needed to help the business there, as well as give her own perspective on training and nutrition and the spirituality of things. And, like, I got to learn the coaching side of everything. So, like, I've been coached by the best coaches in the world, and I've also got to even have a hand in helping coach the best coaches in the world. So, like, we can't be more well-versed. We've been on the inside. We know better than ever before that we know what we're doing. We can take care of business. We have the clear vision. It's like hitting the reset button. We're going to give this another run, and the right run. And we just felt we were called to do this. This was the prophetic dream. This was the birth of the new business, and we got it all figured out.
Oh yeah.
And it worked out in good timing as well, because, like, we're still helping out with FPA, but that means we had to change how we were doing things, and, like, it just
change the type of relationship.
And everything worked good. I mean, from beginning to end, God has been here making it, not necessarily always baby butter smooth, but like some things that needed to happen that, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the Lord had his hand in. That is every bit of it, all of it right there. I mean, and that's why we know we're called to do this.
Yeah.
Like, how else do you want me to say it?
Yeah. So now moving forward, the way that we're going to be doing things differently, we're going to be having a little bit more options when it comes to working with us. And
working with us, we're going to try to have more options. We're going to try to reach more people. We've understood what we're doing. We have the mindset, the processes, the gears are turning the right way, that we're going to be able to serve as many people as possible, and we're going to be able to reach people as possible. And it's just like, the value of the program is going up and up every day, because we're improving it each and every day. We're rebuilding things each and every day. We started with no skills. Now we have the skills. Like, when it comes to just different skills throughout the business. I've been teaching the skills, and for anybody that's taught anything in their entire life ever, you are more well versed in what you're teaching now more than ever when you are in a position where you have to teach it.
Yeah.
Like, that's a whole other level of learning, and that's where we're at, and
Yeah.
that's what is going to set us apart and be able to help us move forward with this and serve just as many people as possible.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
with that being said, if you have made it all the way to the end of this, because it's probably been an hour or so, or
easy.
45 at least,
Mm-hmm.
if you've managed to take the time out of your busy day and get to the end of this, from the bottom of both of our hearts, thank you so much.
Thanks.
And like we said, we talked about how our whole life journey is here, how God has called us into this spot and to call us is to help as many people as possible and to bless them in all aspects to make you a better person, both physically, mentally, and spiritually. If you've resonated with any of this at all, if you've related to any of it at all, if it's something you're interested in, you're needing that extra help and that extra oomph in your life, go ahead and hit us up in the DMs. We can even send a link in the bottom to book a call, and just let us know what you thought of the video at the very least. Like, this is kind of hard stuff to talk about, when we just really pour our heart and souls out. So some feedback would be much, much appreciated.
Yes, absolutely.
So with that being said, thank you so much for being here. We hope you have the most wonderful and blessed day. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.